Hello everyone, I'm recording this video to answer your lectorial question, which is in chapter 12, and the exercise number is 12.13, which you can see in the book, in the core text for management and cost accounting. I'll read through this question first, explaining few points while reading it, and then I will be answering this question. Cullen Systems manufactures two products in Oldfield division. Traditionally, the company has used an overhead absorption system, so that's relevant to our absorption costing based on machine hours. So machine hour is one of the most common method of absorption. The other one is direct labor hours. However, following a management consultancy exercise in which outside consultants reviewed the management information system, the director have decided to pilot an activity ABC system, which is activity-based costing, at the Oldfield division. For the coming year 20x3, Oldfield production overheads are estimated are as follows. And then you see a list of costs which would fall as indirect cost, also called overheads. Individual costs are not relevant for this question. We will be only looking at the total figure, which is £168,970. Following a detailed review of the production processes, the finance director and the divisional accountant identify a set of key cost drivers together with cost allocations to each and estimates of the relevant quantities involved for product A and B in 20x3 financial years. So if you already watched the video on activity-based costing, you will know that the two main things in activity-based costing, and those are cost drivers and the cost pools, which are also cost activity pools. So that data is given in this table. It may look scary, there's a lot of information, but once you know how to use this information, then it is very simple. So they have given their activities first, and then they have given what drives that activity's cost higher, known as cost drivers. We have total, product A and product B, and then total cost per cost pool. It should be cost pool. The book has it wrong. It should be activity pool. We will be producing 6,000 of product A and 5,000 of product B. Then we have machining assembly. We have cost driver is machining cost is the machine hours. The more machine runs, the more the cost is. The total hours for machines were 11,000, for which 6,000 were used for A and 5,000 were used for B. The total cost of running the machine is £63,030. For example, lubrication, electricity, wear and tear, spare parts. This is kind of cost which would go in machining department. Then we have assembly, where labor hour is the main feature. Total 9,000 labor hours were used. 3,000 were used for A and 6,000 were used for B. Packing, again, it is labor based, which is 4,000 in total, 2,000 for A and 2,000 for B. The total cost for the packing is 31,000. Material ordering, there's always a procurement department in medium to big manufacturing businesses, and these are the people who are responsible for securing supplies, raw material, etc. So this is for procurement department. A number of orders are 111 orders were made in total. 86 were made for A and 25 were made for B. We have material issues. So stores department cost, which keeps the material and then it supplies the cost to the factory production department. So material issues are 150 in total. 103 were for A and 47 were for B. Then we have machine setups cost. These are normally based on the number of time a product were produced. So every time we do that, we have to change spare parts, we have to change dies, we have to change flush out the system and so on. So that is a setup cost. And number of hours used in a setup. So every time you set up, it takes some labor hour time, and 33 total hours were used, 25 for A and 8 for B. The cost of setups is given. Then we have quality inspection, 35 in total, 10 for A and 25 for B, and the total cost of inspection is given, and the total cost of 168,970. This total cost is exactly the same as above. So these are the two different ways of accumulating the cost together. We have seen the same thing in another activity, the RURIs, where we have seen overheads given like this and not like that. What is the next? Each planned unit of production of both products A and B uses 1 machine hour. One unit of A has a prime cost, which is direct labor and direct material of £12.50, and 1 unit of B has a prime cost of £16. There are 4 different requirements. 2 are relevant to absorption costing and 2 are relevant for activity-based costing. So the first one is calculate the overhead absorption rate based on company's traditional system of using machine hours as a basis of overhead absorption, and then calculate the overhead per unit of product A and B using the data provided for the new ABC system. Third one is calculate the production cost of 1 unit of product A and 1 unit of product B under both the old and the new costing system, and then comment on the difference between the production cost for each product under the old and the new costing system. Work to 2 decimal places. So that's the requirement. I will do this question in one go, and I'll be making one video, but I will be telling you because this video will be used in both sessions for activity-based costing and absorption costing. So you should watch the first part where I will be answering question part 1 and 3 of the question for absorption costing, and then you can see the same video for activity-based costing. Overhead absorption rate, OAR. The formula for that has been given in the slides, and that is total overheads divided by total activity. So that's the formula. Now we know that the total overheads are given very clearly in the question, which are 6168970, and then we have total activity given very clearly as well. Basis is always important, guys. So as you can see, if you look at my cursor, it's a machine hour basis, sometimes it's labor hour basis, so it's important to pay attention. We have data on both things, so the question could be tweaked to do this with the same data. You could have different things. So this is machine hour basis, and this could be on labor hour basis, which labor hours are given here, so that could be tweaked differently. But in this case, the total machine hours are 11,000. So that is our total activity. If the question says the labor overhead should be absorbed on the basis of labor hours in assembly, then we'll be using 9,000 and 3,000. And if the question says that the overhead should be absorbed on the basis of labor hours in the packing department, then we'll be using 4,000 and 2,000. It's totally dependent on accountant. They can decide that which activity is more relevant or more appropriate to absorb the overheads. And normally it's the activity which is more expensive and which is more prominent. And in this case, we can see that machine hours are a bit more important. However, another accountant would say that we should add up the hours of assembly and labor hours of assembly and packing together, and that's how we should absorb the overheads. And in that case, we will add up 9 and 4, 13,000 labor hours in total, and then 3 and 2, 5 for A and 8 for B. So that's one thing which is very subjective and student find is confusing, but it's the reality of management accounting or accounting in general, that there are always things which on which there is no clear rule. However, the question would always tell you clearly which way to go, and in this case it's machine hours, which are total, and I'm going to use them 11,000, and then a simple maths, which is total overheads divided by total machine hours. Press enter and we get 15.36 as our OAR. That is requirement 1, guys, which is calculate the overhead absorption rate. The second one is for activity-based costing, and I will do that in the later part of the question. However, first I would like to finish off my absorption costing. So the third one, let's give it number for the sake of clarity. There we go. So we have 1 answered, and now I'm going to answer 3, which is on absorption costing, and that is calculate the production cost of 1 unit of, which is basically a cost card, building up a cost card. So the cost card, and this is under absorption costing. Cost card simply accumulates all types of costs together. In this case, it is going to be very simple because material and labor has been given together, so we call it prime cost. We do need 2 sections here, one for A and one for B. So product A and B, so A and B. The cost for product A is given here, 12.50 and 16. So 12.50 and 16 pounds. Let's keep it to 2 decimal places. There we go. And then we add our overheads. Overheads are given here, 15.36. For 1 hour of machine, if a product uses 1 hour of machine hour, it will take, or it will absorb, £15 and 36 pence. In the question, it has been told clearly that each planned unit of production for both product A and B uses 1 machine hour. So equal amount would be absorbed by each product, which makes very simple. Sometimes you have to multiply with 1.5 if it takes 1.5 hours, or 2 if it takes 2 hours. But in this case, it's simple. And we have the total cost under absorption costing would be overheads plus prime cost, 2786 for A, and the same formula copied to the next cell, and that is 31.36. So these are the two answers of the two prices for two products A and B. Absorption costing finishes here. Now the next part of the question would look at activity-based costing. You can watch this part of the recording next week when we actually have activity-based costing as our topic. Activity-based costing. The main task in activity-based costing is to calculate the rate per driver, which has been mistakenly been written here, total cost per cost driver. We need to have the total cost per driver, which can be calculated by the total cost in each activity pool, which is given in the last column of the table, and the total number of drivers. So this would give us the cost per driver. So first of all, let's do that. Cost per driver. Some questions, they do have this total column given. Some questions will give you only drivers for A and B, and they would ask you to calculate the total, which is a bit of a nuisance, but a question like this has easy marks for simply adding up two things. So the cost per driver would be simply activity. So first of all, let's go to our total cost for machining. Okay, so our pool is cost per driver, and the first one is machining. For that, I'll take the cost of 63030, 63,030 divided by 11,000 hours. So this gives us the rate which we have used. Actually, it's different. 5.73 is. So every time a product would use 1 hour of machine, we will add £5.73 to its cost. Now this is going to be the total one. And the next one is assembly. And the driver is labor hours. The total cost was 43020 divided by total number of labor hours in assembly, which are 9,000. Then we have packing. The total cost for packing is 31,000. The drivers are a labor hour, which are 4,000 in total. So that's the rate per driver for packing. We have material ordering. And the total cost is 9,990 divided by the total number of orders, and we get 90. Then we have material issues. The cost is 12,000 in total, and the number of issues were 150. So each time a product issues, it costs £80. And then we have inspections or quality inspections. The cost total is 3,990 divided by 35, and we get, so each inspection costs £114. So that's basically the idea for these. I will show you the working for these now. So so that you can actually work out how was this calculated. So this is the data you can see as well now. Down here, and I need to do setups. 33. So 5940 divided by 33. Done. Okay, we need to divide that. The next one is allocation of costs to products. So we have two products, A and B, and we will use these costs now, and we will be multiplying these cost drivers. So rate per driver is this. So A uses, so simply how many driver each product uses, and then the rate per driver. If you look at the table now, so table here, we are using these figures. So A uses 6,000 machine hours, and the cost per machine hours is 5.73. So that is the cost which will be allocated to it. B uses 5,000 machine hours. The cost per machine hour is this and this. So we have allocated the total cost of machining to A and B. To double check if this is correct or not, I will total up these two values. And as you can see below, it's 63030 as our original cost for machining. So we have done this accurately. Assembly now, if you look at the table, machine A uses 3,000 hours of assembly direct labor, and the rate for that is 4.78. We use this, and then B uses 6,000 times the rate, and we get that again, the check, and 43020 is the total figure, which is correct. Now we go to packing. 2,000 direct labor hours for A times the rate, 7.75, and what we have for, and the same amount is for B. So I'll do that again, doesn't matter, and I have allocated the cost of packing as well. Next is our material ordering, which is how many material orders were made. 86 orders were made for A times cost per order, and then 25 orders were made for B and the cost per order, hence the allocation correct is the total. And then we have material issues, 25 for A, so 25 times cost per issue, and 8, no, I think this is incorrect. We have material issues, 103 for A times 80, and then 47 times 80 again. So let's add setup here as well. Okay, so A uses 25 setups times cost per setup one four 25 setups into 180, and then 8 setups into 180. So the total is 5940. So that is machine setup is correct. And for inspections, we have 10 setups for A. Cost per inspection is 114, and for B, inspections are 25 times 114, and if you do the check is 3990. So we have allocated all of the overheads to our products now. We can total these up now. So if you sum up all of these costs, that's our answer. Let's highlight it, and you'll see that the total 168970 is exactly the same, which is at the end. So this gives us an idea on the accuracy of our work. What we could do next is we can calculate the overheads per unit by dividing it by number of units produced. So number of units produced, 6,000 A and 5,000 B, and we get the overhead per unit as total overheads per A divided by number of A produced, and we get our cost. And let's do it to 2 decimal places only, 14.31. And next step would be to calculate the total cost, which is just as the cost card we have done above, simply adding prime cost and overheads to there. And let's just do this. Let's just copy and paste here, Control C, going down, and I will change these things. I just have to type this thing. So what do? I do activity based costing. Let's highlight this. Prime cost is as before, and overheads are 14.31 and 16.31. So we have total cost as 26.81 and 32.63. Let's compare it with our absorption costing total cost, how different it is. It is not significantly different, but we can see that the cost of A has decreased and the cost of B has increased because of using activity-based costing. Activity-based costing is more correct for sure because it takes more details into account on the costing. So guys, I hope this video helped you to understand the both approaches. There's another video which is Servco, which you should watch as well to help you understand the topic more. Thank you for watching this video.